Hey guys, in this video we're going to be checking out the T9 dual driver in-ear monitors from XVIVE. Now, you may remember that XVIVE is the company that sent me this little guy, the U4 wireless pack, and it works great. I've used it several times when I'm in a space that's not too big, and I've heard people that use it with great success. I think the key for this is the range. So it's not a massive unit meant for a massive space, but small range. It's extremely compact, and it's great. It's still running strong, and it's built like a tank. So that's the U4. So let's check out the T9 in-ear. So now these are dual balanced armature drivers. I'll put this spec sheet up here so that you can see it, and you can pause this and read this if you would like to. You're welcome to pause that and read all that information. So let's check these out. Now these clock in about $150. So we're gonna give these a go. You guys are always asking me for gear that doesn't break the bank, value gear that is still worth purchasing. So that's what we're hoping out of these. These are not meant to compete with custom ears, but this is kind of in that mid-range market where you want to step up to get better isolation and you want a little better sound quality, but you're not looking to go customs or break the bank. So first of all, we've got this foam insert that has the two earbuds in them. And then we've got, okay, inside this little black case, there is a small carrying pouch, so that's great. Wow, so these are big. Like, these are comparable to my custom ears as far as just like the size and layout. I'm used to a little more, I guess, like standardized. The custom, they're a little smaller, but these are, I would say, aggressive is maybe the word. Like, they're large. The actual part that goes in your ear seems to be pretty big, not necessarily in a bad way. All right, so inside the carrying pouch, in-ears themselves, we have the cable, we've got a cleaning tool, we've got the 1/8 inch to 1/4 inch adapter, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rubber tips, and then we've got, I'm sorry, 5 pairs of rubber tips, and then we have 3 pairs of foam, like memory foam tips. So I think the memory foam, it's like small, medium, large, and then we've got small, medium, large of the rubber, and then like a small and medium, 2 different colors. I'm not sure what the difference is on those. You get a lot of stuff in here and everything you would need to kind of experiment what type of tips would work for your ears. Also, what's interesting is, by the looks of these, this looks like the exact same connections that my much more expensive custom ears have. So I'm going to try, after using this cable, I'm going to try the cable for my custom ears, because that would be pretty sweet, again, for this kind of price point or this level of in-ear. All right, let's put them on and check them out. So I'm using these small memory foam tips, and man, I'm shocked at how far these go into my ear. Again, I use the word aggressive. I don't know if that's the right word, but these are, I think, where a lot of customs are a lot smaller in, you know, that ear canal piece, or the part that really goes into your ear. These are a lot more aggressive in that sense. Wow. So as far as the isolation, I can't get it, you know, I'm pretty much all the way into my ear canal, and I guess the only thing I would say is maybe if you have really small ears, these may not work, because you know, I would say I have normal ears. I don't know, I don't have a really big head, but you know, the only thing is I'm not even quite getting these all the way in. Oh, there it goes. Wow, that's kind of crazy. These go really far into your ear canal for, again, for universals. I'm not expecting them to be as snug as my customs, right, because they're not made for my ear, but like they go into your ear at the places that you would expect them to, as far as even sitting in your outer ear. These probably stick out a little bit farther than my customs, but just as far as like the fit, like those aren't going anywhere. That's pretty cool. Definitely built more like the custom ears. If you got customs, these are a lot more like that than they are like the cheaper, you know, sit in the, you know, outside of your ear. These like go far into your ear canal and sit like a custom. Again, I'm not trying to say they're customs. We're not trying to necessarily compare them, even because it's a 2 different worlds, but that's pretty crazy. All right, let's listen to some music. So what I do when I'm listening to new ears is I listen to material that I've listened to a billion times. And so I'm going to find a familiar record. So for me, it's some Israel Houghton stuff that I just have heard, I don't know, thousands and thousands of times as a reference. Okay, just listening through a couple tracks. They sound really good. Like, it's what you would expect it to sound like. You know, again, I hate to compare them to my custom ears because those are, you know, multiple times the cost. You know, they're 4-driver, these are 2-driver. But what I will say is, you know, there's not anything immediately that I'm like, oh, this is missing this big time. You know, yeah, the low end, is it as punchy and as full? No, it's not as punchy as full as my quad driver in-ears, but it's because there's more drivers. They're custom made for my ear. The seal is better. You know, when it does seal really perfectly, obviously it's not a comparison, but the lows sound good. To me, the thing that I find a lot with, you know, lower end in cost ears is the clarity's not there, right? So I'm not talking about even the highs or brightness, because sometimes it can be bright but like shrill, but there's not a lot of clarity, especially in some of the upper, like a lot of the percussion stuff and different things. But I'm hearing that, and these, they sound good. Like, again, as I said, there's nothing that I put them on, I'm like, oh, I'm missing this major piece of it, or that's super muddy, or there's no low end. Now, I'm not a, you know, in-ear expert. I know there's like a break-in time people talk about, but just like first impression is they're isolating really well because they're going way in my ear canal. They're sitting in, they're not going anywhere. They sound really good, and I think I would play these, you know, in a set. I'm gonna try putting my custom mold ear cable on here because I think this looks like a universal connection, which if it is, that's a big plus for me because you can use whatever cable you want. You can use your existing cable. So I'm gonna see if that works. Yeah, so the cable for my custom ears works and sounds good, and so that's, to me, is a huge win. Man, I'm impressed, guys. Like, to be honest, they're checking all the boxes for me. Now let's play some drums. All right, so a couple of observations after playing with these for a little bit. And, you know, I don't really know the deep dive of how long it takes to break ears in. I've heard there's a break-in period, different kind of stuff. You know, the isolation is great, you know, like with the memory foam. And what I've really noticed, like I said before, is the ears are pretty aggressive in the sense of how far they go into your ear canal for a custom. So I would think the only people that maybe this wouldn't work for is if you have really small ears, you know, or you're not able or comfortable to get that in-ear all the way in. So for me, I'm probably gonna start screaming because I have these in and I can't hear myself as well. You know, they don't fit as perfectly snug, obviously, as customs, because customs are by nature perfectly made for my ear. But I am shocked at how far these go into my ear canal and how well they do fit and kind of snug up in that outer ear space. So I mean, this is crazy to me because the sensation is similar to my customs as far as, you know, how far they go in. Now, again, they do stick out a little bit, so I guess that's like the downside, you could say, or the trade-off of, you know, universals, these being what I'm going to call a little more aggressive ear, is that I don't have a very big head. My head is only, I think, 7 1/4 for hats, those of you know hats, but I don't have like a big head or big ears necessarily, so I would say kind of normal. But so the trade-off for me is they don't fit perfectly in that outer ear as much. Now, we're talking about pickup. You know, they're dual driver, so you know, I'm not being like blown away versus my, again, custom ears. It's an unfair comparison though, but what I will say is like the clarity's there, the low end is great. I'm getting good mid, and there's clarity. It's not muffled. Sometimes I've used some headphones and some in-ears, universal ears, that are, you know, kind of not one of the major brands, and I feel like I lose a lot of the crispness. It's just kind of muddy overall, you know. But these, you know, it's almost like I don't notice it a whole lot. Again, coming from custom molded 4-driver in-ears that I've listened to for years and years and years, when I switch to these, I'm not like, oh, I'm really missing X, right? So, you know, is there as much punch in the low end as my 4-driver customs? No, there's not as much punch, but the frequency is there. Like, it's not like just something that's completely missing. So I hope that makes sense. And again, it's an unfair comparison because it sounds like I'm talking down about these. Now I'm not. I'm shocked by the, I guess, like the size and build, like quality versus what my customs are, because these, you know, like look like the same in the sense of, you know, the general size. I'm used to smaller in-ears that are, you know, universals that don't go in your ear canal as far, and you kind of make some sacrifices. But yeah, I'm going to use these tomorrow for church, and I'm using them today because I'm playing a live kit, you know, which is a lot more dynamic sound experience than playing on electric set, which is what we're using right now at our church. But it will give me a sense of playing with a live band there and trying to mix that. But right now, my impression of the XVIVE T9s is I'm pretty impressed. And, you know, I don't want to speak too soon, but actually my customs are probably 10 years old at this point. And, you know, I don't know if this is just a wives' tale or what, but, you know, they say that your ears and nose never stop growing. Someone can say in the comments if that's true. But I do notice that the seal is not as consistent as it was, you know, 10 years ago. So I'm not sure if that's a normal thing, but sometimes I find myself losing that seal. And when you lose that seal, you lose your low end. Obviously, you lose that isolation. So the question I have is, are these going to replace my customs as my daily driver? It remains to be seen. We're going to use them tomorrow. We're going to find out. But right now, I'm pretty impressed. And they're performing really well. Sound great, isolate great, stay in. Obviously, it's the same chord, so the experience is very similar. You know, the fit in comparison to my customs is what I would expect. They're not custom, but they are the same style in how they fit in your outer ear and all that stuff. So it does take a little bit longer to get them all the way in my ear canal, mostly just because I'm being careful and because they do go in, you know, farther than I would expect just kind of normal universals to go in. So from that regard, checking all the boxes. Get some more rehearsal in for tomorrow. All right, guys, it is Sunday morning. I'm here at my church, kind of before everyone else, just to get some stuff set up and practice. But again, the story of the day is that I'm using my XVIVE T9s instead of my custom ears. So I've got them in my case. Got my custom ear cable on them, so I'm curious to see how similar the experience is to my customs and how different it is in some ways. But again, my first impressions, I was thinking about it last night. I think the biggest thing to me that kind of separates these from maybe a lot of just the Amazon earbuds that you can find is these feel more like customs than they do like Amazon ears. And what I mean by that is, again, just the size of them, the way they fit, and the depth that goes into the ear canal is more like customs, and the fact that I can use my cable. You know, I'm not using some really tiny thin cable with no you know, way to cinch up the back. It's the cable that I always use, which seems like a small part of the experience, but when you're wearing ears or you got a cable flopping around, you realize how much of your, you know, in-ear experience really is your cables and getting that correct. So yeah, anyways, I'm gonna get some practice in and use these T9s today. All right, used my XVIVE T9s today for Sunday, and man, they held up really great. They isolated extremely well. Again, I was actually shocked at how well they isolated, and they fit, you know, pretty far into my ear. The only critique I would have is that if you have small ears, these may be a little bit too big for you. I'm gonna show you a size comparison in a second between the XVIVE, my custom ears, and then a couple of the Amazon ears that I've gotten over the years, because they are a bigger in-ear. But having the cord from my in-ears and everything, it was a very similar experience. It's not you know, the fit inside my ear as far as just the entirety of the custom mold that I am used to, but as far as the experience of like how deep they go in the ear canal versus maybe some Amazon ones where I'm worried about them falling out, or you know, they don't sit as well, or they don't isolate as well. These definitely checked all those boxes. So yeah, I'm gonna show you this size comparison. Okay, so this is some Amazon ears that I've got, and this is kind of like more like the size of the Shure's, probably their models. These are not Shure's, but that's kind of the size and style. And then these are some other Amazon ears that I have, and then these are the XVIVEs. So you can see how much bigger that is even than that, as far as the depth that it goes in your ear. So if I can lay that flat, you can see it's bigger. Now this, I mean, this is a pretty decent size, but you can tell that these go a little bit deeper in your ear. I use the small attachments and they seem to work well. Who would this be good for? This would be good for people that maybe want to take a step up in your ears, but you're maybe not ready for customs yet, in my opinion, or you don't want to break the bank, but maybe you're tired of the ears that you have, like they just can't handle it. That was one thing. Another thing that was good was they could handle all of the sound, right? So the entirety of the mix, panning my mix, the intensity, you know, I didn't lose it or didn't get crunchy. Sometimes some ears, I've got some knockoff Amazon ears that I have, they just can't handle the sound. Like once it really digs in, once the drums really come in, they just kind of, you can tell that, I don't know if it's just the drivers can't handle it, but these definitely, there was no problem whatsoever. They were loud. I mean, they are super loud. I actually pulled my P16 down a little bit from what I normally have it. So on all those things, they're really good. I think the big question is not really, is the sound quality there, or are these worth getting? I think they're definitely worth getting. The question is just, you know, are they gonna fit your ear? Because these are universal fit, so they will fit anybody. But as far as being able to really go deep inside your ear canal, again, I know I've said this many times, but I think that if you have really small ears, these may not be best for you. But you know, if you have, I guess, normal size ears and head on up, I think this would be a great option. The isolation is really good. I'm going to use them for a while as my daily drivers and just see how it feels. So you're probably going to see another video from me in maybe a month or so. I'm going to tag back in and just kind of give you some more updated experience with the T9s. But yeah, I would definitely check these out. Thanks for sending these out, XVIVE. Really appreciate you guys, a great partner. They make quality stuff at a great value. So I really appreciate everything that they've done to help support my channel. And so the T9s and the U4, both great products that I've used in a live setting and have done well for me. And I've had a lot of feedback from people in similar settings that these products have been doing really well as far as a value product that gives you a lot of bang for your buck. So yeah, XVIVE, appreciate it. Check them out. I've got everything linked in the description of this video. If you want to see these in-ears, you can check them out in the links below. And if you have any questions, let me know, and we'll hope to see you guys in the next video.